There are key statutory and regulatory requirements that real estate agents need to be aware of to undergo a standard sale process of a fee simple property. The requirements will be discussed through 6 key milestones. The first milestone is engaging a vendor client. It is an offence under Section 142 of the Real Estate Agents Act to pretend to be licensed under the Act. An agency agreement should be formed as a legally binding contract between the agent and the vendor. However, before signing the agency agreement, the agent must set out commission matters, the expiry date of the agency agreement, the way the property will be marketed along with any additional expenses, and the vendor's right to find further information as required by Rule 10.6 of the Real Estate Agents Act. Section 133 of the Act also establishes that the agent is responsible in providing the vendor with a copy of the Real Estate Authority's approved guide.
The next step involves taking the vendor's property to market. Rule 5.1 demands agents to always exercise skill, care, competence, and diligence when carrying out real estate agency work. Therefore, the agent should be careful in making any statements to potential purchasers to not be liable under Section 72 for unsatisfactory conduct and Section 73 for misconduct. In the case of the Complaints Assessment Committee 416 and Indra Prasad, Ms. Prasad was found guilty on charges of misconduct and disgraceful misconduct for failing to disclose information of a road widening project that would affect the property to all prospective purchasers, as well as altering documents to make it seem as if she had disclosed this information. The court determined that she had acted in a way that agents of good standing as well as members of the public would deem disgraceful, and that because the road widening would have a serious impact, her failure to disclose this information was seriously incompetent. Further to that, agents are also required to disclose known defects, without the obligation to discover defects, as stated by Rule 10.7. As a result of this, purchasers should be encouraged to obtain advice from their lawyers before making an offer to confirm accuracy and to research claims made in marketing materials. This is to protect the agent from being liable under Rule 6.4.
The third milestone is receiving offers from potential purchasers. The offer process may vary according to the method of sale chosen, like by negotiation, auction, or by tender. In this step, the agent is expected to communicate regularly and timely with the vendor and potential purchasers to update progress unless otherwise requested, as emphasized by Rule 9.3. In accordance with Rule 10.11, the agent must submit all offers concerning the grant, sale, or disposal of land and business to the vendor, provided that the offers are in writing. Additionally, the agent should notify any changes in circumstances and disclose any conflict of interest.
The next step is for the vendor to enter into a sale and purchase agreement with a selected purchaser. For the disposition of land, the sale and purchase agreement needs to be recorded in writing. Rule 6.2 states that the agent must act fairly and honestly with vendor and purchaser when forming the sale and purchase agreement. Per the Complaints Assessment Committee CAC 413 and Yu Hin William Yip case, the licensee Mr. Yip engaged in unsatisfactory conduct and failed to comply with Rule 6.2. He pressured the complainant into signing a one-day due diligence clause before reluctantly agreeing to a 3-day due diligence clause. However, the complainant was still required to confirm other conditions over the busy Christmas period in just 3 working days. The agent should assist both purchaser and vendor in including conditions in the agreement and should advise the vendor to obtain legal advice prior to signing the agreement. Once the agreement is established, both the vendor and purchaser should confirm the terms of the agreement and sign.
Then a payment of deposit should be made by the purchaser. Under Section 123 of the REAA, the agent must hold the deposit in a trust account for 10 working days after the date it is received. The Act states that the money may be paid out before the expiry of the period if there is a court order or if all parties sign an early release. The agent must not pay the deposit money to any person if a written notice of any requisition or objections in respect of the title of the land is received, except with a court order or an authority signed by all parties of the transaction. Lastly is the settlement of a sale of a property. The agent must pay out the deposit to the person entitled in accordance with the instructions, including interest gained from putting it in a trust account. According to Section 126, the agent is also not entitled to commission without a signed agency agreement. Before the settlement date, an agent must conduct a pre-settlement inspection as requested by the purchaser. Once the title of the property has been transferred, the vendor needs to deliver any keys to the agent to pass over to the purchaser. This concludes the 6 key milestones in a standard process to sell a fee simple property.